International humanitarian organisation Doctors Without Borders says it's suspended its activities in the suburbs of the Syrian capital now because of the fierce fighting there between opposition groups in the area. Covering that, Lizzie Phelan's reporting from Damascus.
They said that they came to this decision following several violations, attacks against facilities that it supports. They say those violations include ambulances being hijacked by rebel fighters, hospitals stormed by armed and masked men, and medical points that they support struck by bullets, and medical workers there trapped for days, surrounded by infighting between rebel factions. Now, in a statement released by MSF, they said that these attacks constitute grave violations of the protected status of hospitals and medical workers in war zones, and they've released a set of demands to rebel factions, including no weapons or people bearing arms allowed to enter medical facilities. They've also demanded unobstructed evacuation of patients and medical workers to safe places when necessary. Now, the situation in the East Ghouta area is deteriorating. Civilians there on top of living under crippling siege by government forces, regular bombardment, now also facing this escalating fighting between rebel factions that control the area. Civilians have even been protesting against this infighting, those protests reportedly ongoing, despite one of the main rebel factions in the area, the Islam Army, allegedly opened firing on demonstrators. As these rebel factions clash between one another, the army is advancing in the area, and as this fighting shows no sign of abating, people who are sympathetic to the Syrian government will see this as yet another confirmation of what to expect across Syria if the rebellion against the Syrian President Bashar al-Assad indeed did succeed.
The German Defence Minister has cancelled a trip to the US and summoned a top brass for an emergency meeting too. It follows a spate of headline-grabbing, high-profile army scandals. RT's Nadira Chud has been following the story.
Germany's Defence Minister Ursula von der Leyen, she's cancelled her visit to the US, where she was meant to meet the US Defence Secretary and UN officials. And the reason for that is she feels it's necessary to stay and look at the domestic issues of the German military, who are experiencing problems at the moment. And in particular, one case has come to light involving a senior lieutenant known as Franco A, according to the prosecutors. And he had a hit list where he had, including on that list, the former German President Joachim Gauck and Justice Minister Heiko Maas. This latest case does raise the worrying question of how can an individual with these credentials be employed by such a prestigious military like the Bundeswehr. There were, in fact, 275 suspected cases of right-wing extremists in military ranks dating back to 2011. So it's fair to ask what is actually going on in the German military, and the Defence Minister, she's also shocked as well. Let's take a listen to what she has to say.
We have to ask systematically how someone with such clear right-wing extremist views, who writes a master's paper with clearly nationalistic ideas, could continue to pursue a career in the Bundeswehr. If I look at the patterns, then I think I should have dug deeper earlier.
So as you can see, this latest case is certainly scandalous and must be very embarrassing, I might say, for the German military.